Chai will never be successful here. Friends who trusted or believed in did come back, say, this is a bad idea, don't do it, Sanjith.
When there's such a strong coffee culture,
and we are going totally against. It was not recognized as a business.
Why not?
Because being brown and coming back from India, I just told my family that I was starting business. I am sure they would be disappointed when they get some push down. It is still seen as just a cafe. Trusting people is one of the biggest mistakes I have learned. Why didn't Melbourne have a chai place? And at that time I decided I either want to study or...
Welcome to another episode of Australia Unfiltered, where we have candid and insightful conversations with people living in Australia. This series is powered by Anchor Cookiko, and we would like to welcome our new food and beverage partner, Dropout Chaiwala. And we would like to give our special thanks to Aussie's group for this amazing podcast space. So let's dive into today's topic. Today's topic is starting a business in Australia as an international student. And who better to have for this topic? Sanjith. Sanjith, by the way, is the founder of Dropout Chaiwala, and he started it as an international student when you were in your second year or something?
Yes, final year of my bachelor's degree.
Final year of a bachelor's degree. I feel so old and dumb, but whatever. Anyway, amazing, and thank you so much for coming to Australia Unfiltered.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. It's so great to be here and then talk about as a journey from being an international student to a businessman. I have been inspired a lot from your work, which you guys are doing, and it definitely shares the stories of people who are really making a difference out there. And thank you for that.
You're just being too kind, but thank you so much. That means a lot from another founder as well. Getting onto this, what brought you to Australia? Let's go a little back. What brought you to Australia?
So this is probably 2018. I just finished my class 12. And then I was supposed to do my medicine degree back in India.
Medicine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a medical aspirant. Okay. And then I probably got a seat. I got into a medical college too, but I couldn't go there. And then I decided I don't want to do medical college because I can't study all my life. And then I told this to my parents. That the first disappointment of their life came in then. And then later we decided as a family that I cannot do engineering for sure. I've seen my sister doing engineering.
Okay.
So
you knew that's not your thing.
That's not my thing at all. And I'm not very good with computers or mathematics. Then I realized I want to do business studies. Then my father did suggest me, he wanted me to explore other country and do my bachelor's degree there, if at all I'm going for bachelor's of business. So that's when I decided I want to do bachelor's of business abroad.
Okay.
And in that process, I chose Australia because I've heard a lot of good things about Australia, and Melbourne was the most livable city back then at that time, and even now. Yeah. So I said, why do I miss that opportunity? And Canada is too cold for me. So
every person that I've spoken to and who's chosen Australia as an immigrant, whoever's an immigrant, they say Canada was an option, but it was way too cold, and they never end up going to Canada, and that's why Australia. But Melbourne is also cold.
Also cold. I realized only after coming here. Yeah. So I think Sydney has a constant weather than Melbourne has, but Melbourne has beautiful weather. I enjoy this weather, even if it's cold, but I really love spending time in this weather, outside for walks or in the evenings.
I hate this weather. Cold weather is
not the most Melbourne thing, but yeah.
I didn't know that I didn't assume Australia would be cool. I was very naive, I'd say, before coming. I thought it would be good weather, nice weather, like Sydney. I just assumed. Then when I came here is when I realized, shit.
Many people are going to hate Sara for this. But then, Melbourne is definitely cold place. I would agree with you. But at the same time, very good weather is what I would say.
I'd say I don't like the weather, but why I don't leave it? Because of the culture.
The
culture is what brings most people here.
And I can't agree more. Melbourne has the best culture I've ever seen in all the cities of Australia. I've lived a little shorter time periods in different cities. But
where all have you lived?
Sydney, and I did spend some time in Tasmania. I did spend some time. Other places are touring mostly, but these places were doing internships or probably exploring the city more time, probably 1 or 2 months being there. but I found Melbourne was the best culture, and people in Melbourne are amazing. People are lovely here, and they care about everyone. It's not just a good morning at a coffee shop or a chai shop. It's definitely more than that when they speak.
No, I completely agree. And when you came to Australia as a student, as a business student, did you ever think you'd be starting your own business?
No, I always wanted to do the degree to work in bigger MNCs and help for business growth or be a part of business administration. That's the main goal. I chose bachelor's of degree in business. But then two years down the lane, as a student, when I've come here, it gave me a lot of exposure as an international student. And I was very active in the university clubs and societies. I did be a general secretary for La Trobe Student Union, and I was one of the board of directors in La Trobe University Council. And that's probably a full-time job's work, which for a year you will be representing all the students. I think we were at that point 30,000 students of La Trobe, and I was the first international student to sit as a board of director in the council of La Trobe and represent international.
So you had those leadership skills from before?
From before. And I was very active in politics, student politics. And in Indian Students Club was the beginning for me for anything of all this journey. And I think La Trobe Indian Students Club gave me everything what I am today, is what I would say.
Is it? Okay.
Because I think that's where I started getting more connections, talking to more people. As you're a president of a club, you talk to different clubs and societies, and that will get you more diverse connections in the university itself. And I think that gave us a lot of also bringing on sponsors for the events, bringing on businesses to help the club to improve and all of that. I think negotiations or administration or at least connecting to people, those are the basics I learned from there. So I would say that the club has given me the roots for being in Melbourne.
Wow, that's very interesting to hear, because I was also in the Indian club of UniMelb, and it was not a good experience. So hearing that an Indian club at La Trobe gave you so much exposure, that's really good to hear.
Yeah, it did. I'm thankful for the people. When I joined, I was a volunteer, and then luckily next year elections, I could participate as a president, and I got elected as the student club president. And then post that year as a general secretary for the whole union itself. So we had around 98 clubs and societies under me as a general secretary. So we take care of all the clubs.
Wow. Yes. That's a hell lot of thing to do while you're studying and you're a student and doing this. Then
I enjoyed this more than doing a part-time job. So I used to spend most of my time in the uni or at the office or at the library with friends. And now if you see, I used to have probably 100, 200 friends at that point of time when I was a student, but the transition of you becoming a business owner, and now you hardly can count friends on your fingertips, how many friends you have. So true. It's way two different sides of Sanjith, I would say.
Oh, that's nice. But on that point that you said, I always tell students that when you're in uni, live the uni life. Do work if money is really important, but don't forget to be a student. I feel a lot of students, they forget to be a student. They don't participate in uni clubs or all these things. And I think as if they were a foundation to what you are today, people don't do that. They're like, oh, I need to do a part-time job. Everyone's doing a part-time job. And you do it. 100% do it. It's important. You learn a lot from there. But also give time to uni life.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think where we lack in that, or as you said, we see a lot of people do not participate in these activities, is I think they are not very educated on how it can be useful, or not educated on how that can be fruitful for them post their studies or post the degree or the master's. Most of them find it time wasting. That's why they do not participate in such activities. Whereas they say if that's the time spent on a part-time job, they at least get return on dollars. That's the difference. Again, if you see the return on investment in a longer terms, this is definitely more return on investment.
You get more skills.
Yeah, you get skills without paying. After the degree, if you want skills, you need to pay and get skills learned and then get certifications and stuff. At that uni time, if you do all of these are the skills you'll adapt at that time. And it won't be like a hard lesson or a class which we'll be adapting. It is something which we are enjoying every day.
You're having fun with friends.
Basically having fun with friends and exploring new things and challenging yourself every day, which most of us will do when we get into a full-time jobs or a business. But then from the uni time, it will be really helpful. I do understand money is important because we have to self-sustain ourselves, and seeing the rising inflations and cost of living, definitely international students would be more worried about having a part-time job than spending these activities. But these are equally important, is what I would say.
I feel both should be done. Both have equal, like, other different values. But anyway, getting back to you, then how did you end up starting your own thing as a student? You were doing all of these things. How did your brain even have the time to think of another thing?
Funny story is I love my mom. I always want her to be with me. So even when I was a student and I was 19 years old, I somehow got the thought that I have to bring my mom and make her keep with me. So I did apply for like a guardian visa, and she has come here and stayed with me for an year's long time. And my mom was here with me all the time. And getting to the business idea was starting that point that she never found a good chai place. So it was always in my back of my head, why didn't Melbourne have a chai place that me and my mom can go? She doesn't drink coffee at all. So she's just a chai drinker. And we never found, if you want a chai, we have to go to a nearby restaurant, place a chai order, sit there, have. We never have cafe of a chai like how we have coffee. I'm a big coffee buff. I think I've been more than 400 plus cafes in Melbourne itself for having a coffee. So I used to journal all of the coffee places I used to be. I never had journaled a chai place. I think that subconsciously it gave me a thought that I should be the first person to open up chai in Melbourne. So that gave me the idea of this business. But the idea came into action in 2021 when I finished my 2 years of my bachelor's, and I'm going to enter into my final year. We got the summer break. It was a very lengthy 3 to 4 months period. And at that time, I decided I either want to study, put my savings into the education for the next year, or start a business. So that's when I realized, okay, let me start a business. I want to put all money in, and I had nothing to lose at that time. I was 21 years old, no responsibilities, no family. And on top of it, I just told my family that I was starting business few days before I started the shop. Because I am sure they would be disappointed with the decision.
You didn't do medical.
And
you weren't an engineer.
And I'm not doing my bachelor's for the reason I came here. So they would be definitely disappointed. So I put all in. I took the leap of faith. I took the bet. And then I was opening Dropout Chaiwala. The reason the name came up is I was discussing this idea with my friends. They know I'm not going to study with them anymore. They said, why don't you name this, why don't you tell the real story? I was like, no harm. I can do it.
I love the name. Like the name gives out a story.
So that's the whole idea. Even for the logo and the branding, I first draw it on a rough paper. There needs to be a cup, and it has to have a graduation hat.
Did you design the logo?
The idea, yes. I had the idea. I put it on a paper and I showed to, we hired a company for helping me to doing the branding work. So I have literally drew on a paper and showed them, this is what I'm coming up to. So I need a cup, I need a hat, because I'm never going to get a graduation hat. So
this is where your graduation hat is.
So, and then they came up with the idea of, we have generally the smokes coming out of the chai. So let's put it something like that, and then put the graduation hat. And there will be 3 stars around that indicates best for the quality, the product, and the experience.
Oh, wow.
So
now I'm noticing what you're talking about.
So that's how we designed up the brand. And I was like, let me start a chai cafe. 2021, December 23rd, I opened the gates of Elizabeth Street. As the first
How was
shop.
the feeling?
It was surreal. I cannot even imagine the feeling I had at that time. I felt I just won the world. But then I was very naive and I was 21. So I think it was a great achievement for me at that time, opening a cafe.
Yep.
At the same time, I faced a lot of criticism. I did get some, I won't say negative feedback. I would say it as push down.
Yep.
Because it is still seen as just a cafe which I've opened. I'm trying to, it was not recognized as a business at that point. It would be seen as a...
Why not?
Firstly, because being brown and coming back from India, you know how India is popular for having the small chai tapris everywhere. Yep. So I think the literal transition of people comparing was with having a chai tapri back home or having a tapri here. So I think that's how I got a lot of push down in the beginning.
But I would love a tapri here.
Here, yes. And now that's the vision, everybody sees it. But at that point, I think my close friends or the friends who trusted or believed in would support me for any decisions I make, did come back, say, this is a bad idea, don't do it, Sanjith. Chai will never be successful here. It not in a negative sense of discouraging me, but
protective. Like they've not seen, when you don't see something it's difficult to
say it can work, or
there's such a strong coffee culture
and we're going totally against.
Exactly.
But my thought process was always seeing that 1% positive side of it. So many coffee places, if people get bored, what do they drink? They got Boost at that time, just a juice shop, but they never had a chai shop.
Yep.
And they had a lot of bubble teas. Last decade, the bubble tea has got really popular.
Oh my God, so many options. There was only Gong Cha before, but now there is
hundreds of bubble teas everywhere.
Yep.
So I think we are way ahead of time of chai getting really popular in Australia. And we take pride saying we are the first chai cafe in Australia. And we have shown the path, or at least given a proven example that chai can work out in Australia. So then, especially in Melbourne, though it is a big coffee culture city,
Melbourne is known for its coffee.
And then we are doing everything opposite to that, but it worked out really well. We opened the Elizabeth store. Few months later, I opened a truck with my friends. And then we opened the Dropout store. That's where I first met you. And then now we have opened in Southern Cross store. So we have 4 stores at one point, and now we are 2 stores. That was the learnings where I understood not all the stores are profitable businesses. So it was hard calls I had to make to close down stores.
Before we get to that, because I do want to know about that.
Yeah.
The most important thing, as an international student, because I myself have been an international student, are there international students have visa requirements that they can only work for 24 hours? And what are the other restrictions, and how do you do it as a business owner? Because as a business owner myself, there's no 24 hours weekly that you can work. It's a 24 hours in one day is what you work. So, what is it? How did you do it?
I started the business, as I told you, in summer break.
Okay.
At that point, initially, we had full working rights at summer break. So that helped me a bit. And then I decided to drop out of uni and make my bachelor's degree to diploma. So I had a diploma, and that helped me for transitioning of having a temporary residence and getting into full time. But however, being an international student, we can still open a business. The myth is, do not think international students cannot do business. International students can do business. I am the perfect example for it, I would say. Then you need to have met your visa conditions. You cannot neglect your studies, definitely. Keep your studies on. And then if your business is on at the time of your semester is also running, you just need to follow the hours example of what you get paid 24 hours a week or 48 hours a fortnight or something like that. So as long as you meet your visa conditions, I don't think international student will have a problem of running a business. And I am so happy to see now there are so many programs which support international students to open business, like Start Space at State Library Victoria, or
even universities have started creating a lot of accelerator when I was in uni in 2019 and 2020, there were accelerator programs for students, but it was for tech spaces, like very niche and very those which are not risk averse.
Yes,
they don't like taking risk. But now they've opened up now it's very open. It wasn't there before.
Not just programs. Now I think universities are funding businesses too.
Yes, they are.
And I think a lot of private groups, communities, helping international students to open the business. For example, Study Melbourne does support international students to open businesses. And then Start Space, Founder Space. Then we have Catalyze the program, which I've just joined with them. They help for business accelerations, especially only with migrant community. So they work only with migrant communities and migrant entrepreneurs to accelerate their programs of businesses. Yeah, and then I think we are at the stage where we definitely need some mentorship and guidance as well. So we just joined with that.
No, I think these programs are really, really helpful. I'm also part of a pre-accelerator program because I missed all the deadlines for accelerator programs. But I'm a part of the University of Melbourne's pre-accelerator program called Velocity.
Oh, yeah?
So that's what I know my business, but I think I don't know my basics well. And I didn't learn the basics at uni or in life or at my jobs or anything.
That's another hard challenge for us as an international students, because this is completely a new space for us, and we don't know how to either register a company or how do we register a company.
This was so difficult. Registering a company and registering company name are two different things. But it's so the process is not complicated, but finding where the business name registration is, you need to be figure it out. It's not easy. Business name registration always takes you to ASIC.
And then you have to get your IP of your business names or your logos or trademarks, then getting your right accountants, getting your right legal connections so they can help you. This was all tough when I started.
How did you get all of these connections?
See, I was lucky enough at that point. I was having a business friend who I was a customer to their restaurant. And then they liked my idea and they said, we also want to chip in and help you to start your business. And then they're probably living in Australia for the last 20 years. So they helped me with the process of how do we register a company? How do we put a name up? How to get an ABN for your company? Then how will accountant help you to set up your company's constitution and add directors, secretaries? So they helped me beginning, and then later always I had the enthusiasm of learning things and figuring it out ourselves. I was never shy to ask for help, so I just go, even though the other person thinks I'm dumb or stupid, I don't mind. I just go and say, I need this help. Can you help me with this? I
think that's the best way. It's fine to be the dumbest in the room till the time everyone's the smartest in the room. There's so much to learn.
Yeah, I know. Definitely. Over a time that has developed in me. I used to speak or react or try to show that I'm knowledgeable or skilled in a room. But then I think business has ingrowth so much in me that now I'm the quietest one in the meetings we have. I probably listen to everyone first, and then I will be the last one to answer for any questions. Or
are you one of those kind of people, man of few words kind of a person?
I wouldn't say that, but I'm trying to be a man of few words is what I would say. So for simple comparison, who I admire or look up to right now to being a person is Nikhil Kamath from Zerodha. So I think I'm in those lines of trying to be him or imitating to be him, or you can say adapting to be him.
I think everyone wants to be him at this point of time with all his podcasts that are going viral.
Oh, WTF podcasts. I think one day, I hope yours is as big as that. Bigger.
Yeah.
But I love hearing to his podcasts and discussions, and I love how casual, and I feel the same way right now. We are talking to each other as a casual friends. So I hear a lot of that, and I'm trying to become that person right now.
Oh, I'm so sure you will. You are on the pathway, and I'd say you figured it out at an earlier stage in life that it's okay to take the leap of faith. People are scared to take the leap of faith.
Yeah.
And I think when you're younger, you should do it.
Yeah.
But people are no, I want to do a job first settle in, get experience. It's not about secure, but it's about also experience. And plus, when you're in a foreign land, both of us are in a foreign land, it is scary to take this jump. And it's not some $10 or $1,000 or $2,000 that you're putting in a business. You're putting thousands of dollars to start a business. That gets me to my next question though. Was it easy for you to start a business as a student? Like, that also an international student. What I mean to say is, it's, first of all, what was your mindset? And two, being an international student and immigrant, were there any, barriers, is what I'd say. I've heard a lot of people with South Asian background, they're like, oh, people are not welcoming. For example, a friend of mine, she has an event management business. She was like, when she was trying to hire spaces, people did not trust her because of her background. Even though she's done a lot of events before, but people were not, but those events are way smaller in a small space or very easy to get space. But when she's trying to do a bigger one, everyone was saying no because they were like, you guys are immigrants and we're not sure. We don't want to give it to you guys. But then eventually she begged, pleaded, and she's like, you take my passport, you keep my driver's license. I will not leave till the time you give me this venue. Like, what is your problem? So that was, initially she had it. Did you have anything like that?
I think it's very common in every field of business or in generally doing things, because everyone trusts local people more than the immigrants.
It's not just about immigrants. You were also very young. People don't trust younger people
for sure.
as well.
That's for sure. Age was definitely a big factor. When I started, nobody actually trusted, even these suppliers. When I went, say, I'm opening a shop, I need supplies every week to them. They just saw me like a random kid coming and blabbering stuff to them. But then later, the potential of our business proven to them that we order so much every week has got us from pre-paying for the stock to now post credits to the stock of at least a 3 months or 6 months time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So initially age was definitely a big factor. And lucky me, I didn't look very young. I looked very old with my heavy figure
and with your beard and everything.
Yeah. But then when as soon as my application goes in for leasing the shop, or my application goes in for a creditor for getting the stock and stuff, they see the age number and they're like, are you sure you're doing this, or you just want it for one-time thing? Then I gave them a lot of business after we opened the shop, and then the trust slowly builds up. And now I think I've got a good chain of suppliers who trust in me and trust the business.
Yep.
But there's two good benefits of that age. One side of it is I was very naive. I believed in what I want to believe. I was like, the end of the world is just conquering it for me.
Yep.
But at the same time, the hard part is people trusting you, people putting money on you. Or for instance, the money I put in the business is all my money, which I did savings through my part-time job and the full-time job at the uni. I could not go back. It wasn't that my family couldn't support me. They were very well off, but I just didn't want them to say you're not old enough or not experienced enough.
Yep.
But now after I opened a business and I went back to my family for the first time saying, I want to expand my business, probably this is the time you need to help me, guys. They open-heartedly or open.
You proved yourself.
Yeah. So I think that was the benefit there with the age factor for me, is I want to do everything by myself. I didn't want to have any support or lay back on anyone. And also not much responsibilities, and there was nothing to lose other than just putting in the money what was going into the business. But even then, that was huge for me. I was like, oh shit, I lose this money? But then, no. But
I always tell people, like, do it, give it your try, give it your best. If it doesn't work out, anything doesn't work out, you can do a job all your life. Like a job is waiting, the millions of jobs that are waiting for you. But this business opportunity, you need to take a leap of faith and need to take the risk to do it.
I do encourage my friends the same thing right now. Anyone who is interested, even my partner, she wants to do businesses. I think it's engraved in her family and her that they are always into businesses. So she, with any ideas, she immediately says, this can work, this cannot work, let's do this or let's not do this. And other friends of my age who really want to start business, I do push them a lot. But again, I would explain them the fine difference of being stupid in the business and really doing the business. Because if you see, if business is making loss and not working out, we do not go with saying that I just started this business, I have to just make it successful. Sometimes it's hard, but we have to take the hard decision of closing off. That's how I closed off my first store, which is Latrobe store. It took a lot of time for me to understand businesses do fail, you have to close down or you have to shut down. Do not take it to your pride or do not take it to your ego that no, this can't happen. Sometimes that things will happen the other side, and you have to accept the fact that you can fail and your business can fail. But it shows you need to have so much persistence on the business, or how can you make it work out in the other ways, not the same way which it failed.
Yep, true. No, it's difficult to take those decisions, but they're worth it, and it's a learning. I'd say it's a learning thing. Did you face, except that what you mentioned, what were the challenges that you faced? Like,
for me, first of all, leasing the space was the hardest part, because I was 21, I was an international student, and I had no business partners, no business experience before. Then lucky me, as I told you, the restaurant owner who I was going to the restaurant has joined me saying, I can help you with all of this to get you some space. And so we became business partners for Dropout Chaiwala. And then the leasing agents started trusting me that this guy is genuine. He can take care of the business. And I'm so thankful for Mr. Asrar. So he was the first personal guarantor who signed on the leasing agreements on behalf of me taking the lease for the shop, because they need a local guarantee person that if something goes wrong, they're okay to take the liability and take care of the fall. So for him to trust a 21 years old guy who wants to start a chai cafe in Melbourne, which never has been done, and thinking that it will work out with probably 15-20 grand rental per month in the Elizabeth Street of Melbourne, was a big ask I did for him. And lucky me, I found that person and he just trusted in it, and he said, I'll go all in with you too.
Oh, that's really nice that you found someone. It's very difficult to find the right person.
People, connections.
How did you have mentors except this person? Did you have mentors your way, or?
Never before. I never had mentors. I always used to self-learn through books, through podcasts. Podcast was one of my favorite things because I can't read books for a very long time.
Same.
I feel sleepy. So I like to keep hearing, doing my job and just keep hearing to what people are talking. Simon Sinek was the first guy who I learned a lot of business from in podcast. Then I did read a book called by Principles of Business by Ray Dalio. So that was one of the biggest book which taught me a lot. And then right now, at this stage now, we want to increase our brand to a national brand. We want to make the company big. I've just joined the accelerator program by Catalyzer. It's a migrant entrepreneurs accelerator program for the businesses. They help you to, from the stage which you are in, they identify your needs and they connect you to right people to grow in the business. And it's a mentorship program, nothing paid. It's all they do voluntarily for.
So it's not a paid thing. Like, you don't have to pay for it.
I don't have to pay for it.
That's really nice. That's usually for accelerator programs or any program you have to pay.
I did try to join one of the local called as Foodie Coach Mentors, and they asked me, I have to pay per week around $800 for coaching and mentoring. Whereas Catalyzer, there's so many good programs like this which will help.
How did you find out about this program?
I am very active on LinkedIn space. So in LinkedIn space, I found out that Catalyzer program is offering, I think they are doing it for up to 30 businesses right now. They're offering the 30 businesses the program for acceleration for the next 3 months. It's just been 3 weeks it started right now.
How's it going?
It's going really well. We just had the call this morning on the weekly catch-ups of the goals and activities and progress of the work we did. I have an EIR. She is Sakshi. She is an amazing person. She's trying so hard to get me to right connections for understanding about franchising, business strategy, and then accounting and finance. So they're very good at what they do. And we have probably this Wednesday evening a founders dinner. So all the businesses, the business owners and their mentors, we all will be meeting at one place for the dinner on this Friday evening.
That's so nice.
I can already feel how great that is going to be of meeting such amazing people in one room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you met them online, or you've only met your mentor?
No, we have met all the business owners on the first induction call, where all of them will pitch about the business and explain the co-founders that how their business is and what their business is.
Yeah.
And then we are assigned to each of the mentors. And that mentor will get you to connect to right people who can help you in your business.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Also, were there any government initiatives or any government help that you had when starting a business?
Not at the time when I started, but then later on, we did support City of Melbourne to get activated in nightlife.
Okay.
So at, I think 2020, I believe our Lord Mayor Sally Cap has introduced that businesses, if they're open in the evening, will get some small grants. We want to have the nightlife being reactivated again after the COVID gap.
Yep.
So at that point, we started opening our shop late. So our Elizabeth shop is always open till 12 a.m.
Is
Yes.
till now?
Till now, every day. Yeah.
12?
Yeah, so we open at 7 a.m. in the morning till 12 a.m. in the night. And our Southern Cross is open at 6 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. in the night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
those are long hours.
Yes.
I love to hear that though, but yeah.
Hopefully one day, fingers crossed, at least one store of ours, we want to make it 24/7.
Oh.
So that chai is available at any time for you guys in Melbourne. Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. I would love chai like something that is 24/7 because it's so difficult
when you
to
can
find food.
a McDonald's or a KFC or a coffee 24/7, I think chai is also equally important to be found 24/7.
You can't find coffee 24/7. Like you'll find shit coffee 24/7. So maybe good chai.
Good chai, yes.
Good chai 24/7. That would be amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be so nice. What were we talking about?
About the grants. So I think, we got the first grant help at that time, government initiative.
Yep.
And now there are small business awards and small business grants,
I've seen that.
which the government is helping. And I think a lot of support is done by the mayor. The current mayor, Nick Rees, is also helping to promote businesses.
I've seen his Instagram. He's been like totally like being Gen Z on his Instagram.
Yeah. He's put a lot of effort, and I think he tried a chilies with vada pav, and that video went viral too. So that was a good one. And we have a lot of local community leader supports. The recent interview you did with Elvis, he's been a big endorsement and support.
He loves your vada pav.
I know he does. And until recent time, he never had one vada pav.
Is it?
He was just a cardamom chai with 2 equals friend of ours. But now he is a vada pav and a cardamom chai friend of ours every day. So we got a lot of support from them. They do guide us that apply for these grants which you guys are eligible for. And if we are lucky enough, we meet all the criteria, we do get some grants.
Okay.
We do a lot of events with City of Melbourne. We work in caterings for City of Melbourne for all the events they do with international students.
Yep.
Most of the international students events with Couch, Wickwise or with Study Melbourne, we are part of their catering team. And then normal festive events like Holi, Diwali.
I've seen you guys. Yeah.
So we always put up our stall there, and they help our businesses in that way, such that they don't charge much for government initiative festivals, but then the private sector do charge heaps for us to go into stalls.
True, that is. So you would say that the government in Melbourne specifically is very helpful to business owners?
Yes and no is what my feeling is. Because see, one side of it, they're definitely helpful for businesses to open late, giving grants and tax exemptions and stuff. At the other side, if I see as a business owner perspective, my pay rates of giving it to my staff has been increased probably around 12% in last 1 year. So that's a huge increase in the business rates for us, because we as a small business, we hardly have 15 to 20 or 25% at the max as profit margins of total revenue. So when you cut 10% of it straight to increase your labor cost, so you are losing your profits on one side of it.
I saw this one TikTok or a reel where someone was interviewing a cafe owner in Melbourne, and they were like, why is the price of a coffee increase? Like before we used to have $4 and now it's $5.50 or even more. So that the guy said, the cafe owner said that it's because our margin is 50 cents literally.
Yes.
The rest all goes in operation costs, and the labor cost has increased so much that it's just difficult, and they have to, like, they have no option
to increase the price. I have never seen this kind of downfall. In last 6 months, I've seen so many small businesses shutting down. At this point of time, more than profits, if you're sustaining as a business and doing break even, is really great. And if you're doing it good at this stage, I think in near future you'll do very well. So we are at that stage where we are trying to be doing the break evens, we are trying to pay all the bills, pay the staff, have the cost of goods covered. Sometimes good winter months gets us profits because winter helps always to buy more chai for us. So that's how it works. But then everything has increased. Our cost of goods has increased up to 5% than what I started.
Your rent also might have increased.
My rent every year it increases by 4% to 5%. Wow. It's the industry standards for any commercial property. They keep increasing the rent every year.
Ouch.
Yes, so there's so many things we have to be on top of the game for having a business. It's not easy or fancy as it looks. It's definitely, you get the good fancy names, CEO, co-founder, founder.
I think those are really fancy names.
But then ultimately you are just a cafe owner. You're trying to serve food and chai to customers who you love. And they are reciprocating by showing the love of buying the stuff from your shop.
This is out of curiosity. This is not even one of anything on my list, but I do want to know this. What do you think that attracted people to chai? Because I know a friend of mine who did start a cafe, not chai, but a coffee cafe. And then it just didn't work out for him. He had to shut it down, I think, in 3 months. And you started a complete different segment. What do you think? What made Dropout stand out? Or what was your initiative that made you stand out?
Yes, firstly, we were very specific about the location where we are going as a shop.
I love your location.
Yeah, so most of the times you can see us in only high foot traffic areas because we are a very, very new brand and we are a very new product. We need to go to people. We are not expecting people to come to us at this point. So that's why our locations are in very high foot traffic areas. And our product, we try to market our product as the cultural beverage as it is. And we don't want to change its authenticity. So that gave us a unique spot in this coffee culture. So there was never an alternative to hot beverage before, but now you find an alternative to hot beverage. That's us. So that's the first taglines we always picked up. And we also marketed ourselves that everyone who's drinking chai has definitely an emotional connect with it or has a story with it. So we came up with the whole campaign or idea of saying every cup tells a story. And that's really true. And every cup we serve tells a story. Either the person who is serving the chai, our team, they have a story for the chai. Person who is drinking the chai, they have story every time. So
I think the chai is a conversation. It creates stories as well.
Yes, and Melbourne is known for it. Melbourne is known for people coming together for a coffee or a drink, talking to people they don't like, takeaway. That's how Starbucks failed in Australia, I would say. So we became the space, and especially we became the space for the migrant community.
True. I think there was something missing in the market. There was lacking. I think, as you mentioned, there are restaurants and stuff that do serve tea, and I have seen it, like, being very honest, but I don't want to go to a restaurant and get a tea.
So if you want to catch up with a friend for just buying a tea, you would not go for a restaurant and instead have
even though they give me takeaways, it's not the feel or the vibe like when I go to a cafe and get coffee or something, even though I'm not a coffee drinker.
So it's definitely a missing space there which we filled. We fill the void for people to have a second home other than their home.
It's a homely vibe.
So it's definitely like we want to be the space where you feel home. other than your home. So when you're out in the city, you need a chai, you want to relax. We want us to be known for the experience which you will have. We want you to slow down from the hustle bustle you have every day here. So that's the whole idea of us coming into this sector.
Yeah, that's nice. What is one mistake or a challenge that you faced and that you made that was a lesson for you and that probably new business owners can learn from?
I've done a lot of mistakes. I can't say one. I've learned so many mistakes in the last 2 years. And I think one thing I would say the biggest mistake I have done is thinking that everything we do can be changed or right is one of the biggest mistake. And sometimes we need to slow down, observe, and then see whether everything's going as we plan. And trusting the right people is one of the biggest mistakes I have learned. That I used to believe everyone are good. Why will someone try to harm us? Why will someone try to betray us? Or someone will
stab us on the back.
Yeah, stab us on the back or not be happy for what you're doing. I always thought people are nice and people are good. That was very stupid and naive of me until my partner came into my life and she showed me that no, people are colored. People do not always think the best for you. There are times people think that you don't want to be successful. So those are the biggest mistakes I've learned. Expensive mistakes, I would say, is do not fall for the returns which you always think about the returns which you get for every activity you do than just thinking this is going to definitely help you in a long time. Initially, we used to sponsor a lot of companies to get our endorsements. Then we used to sponsor a lot of events of clubbing nights or anything where we thought it will bring people to our store, but ultimately it did not turn any walk-ins to our business. Useless spending on marketing, I have done a lot in my first year of business.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, and I think that has been expensive mistakes, but definitely big learnings in my early stages of being a businessman. So I won't repeat the same expensive mistakes in future.
Yep, for sure. Also, if you could go back in time, is there anything that you would change and what would it be?
I don't regret anything what I have done until now.
It's not a regret.
But if I go back in time and I want to change something, I think I would educate myself more on how to run a cafe and how to take care of your balance sheet or profit and loss than just trying to run the store. I think I should have finished my last year. So,
okay. So you didn't learn it there. Where can someone learn it from? Like, where do you learn it now from?
Now I think it's on the process. You go to your accountant. Earlier they used to say, don't be shy with a doctor. You have to tell him whatever problems you have. I think now it's for the business people, don't be shy with your accountant or lawyers. Just tell them whatever the problems you have. Even you have done the stupidest mistake, just go tell them, and then I think they are there for you to help. They are there for your business to grow. And I think earlier I used to have I don't want to call them bad, but then they weren't very suitable to us, or neither they helped our business a lot, the previous accountants.
Maybe not the right match.
Not right match. But right now, I think after some time of experience, we got right match of accountant and a good company. We are working with Legal Vision from start of our business. So they are being the two biggest pillars of our business, and they help us with everything which I want to learn, from leasing to executing a shop in operations to the building to the fit out to get into operations. I think it takes an army to run we are trying to become a chain, and there are so many people involved. Right now we have franchisee owners who are working with us. We have our own operations manager, and we have the operations head. We have logistics and supply chain which we have to manage. We have suppliers who does supply for us for different product and raw items. accounting, then legal, and then finance, and then on top of all this, again, we have insurance, building management, and so many things we are doing together. I think that learning stage will come to you when you get into the action. There is never a perfect time for you of the road being clear. I always say this, that if you wait until your road is clear and that's when you want to start your car, you will never start your car. You'll just be in the same
spot. The road's never going to be clear.
Yes. Yeah. So I think it's good to be naive and jump in and do it.
Yeah.
If I know this is what it was going to take to open and run a cafe, I think I would have thought twice before I did that.
True.
But then now I have done it, and I think I love doing it. We are still doing it. We will be doing it.
Yeah.
So
true. No, I think you have to, it's scary, 100%. It's super scary to be a business owner. There's so much responsibility, and doing a job is so much easier.
Yes.
But
I wouldn't say that. I say my friends sometimes do suffer more than I do. Okay. But then, however, I have...
It's a stable income is what I meant to say. Like, for you, there might be 1 month which is amazing, great, like out of the blue. But then some months which just go downfall. But for them, it's the same salary coming in. Maybe in a year, they'll also increase. And again, they'll increase.
They know their budgets. They know their... But that's another thing I've learned is making money is not hard. You can definitely make a lot of money, but then retaining that money and keeping it with you and being very useful with the money and doing things which are useful is really hard.
Yeah.
It is not that simple or easy.
Yeah, true. It's money can make you do weird things and different things. You never know if you don't manage it well.
Yes. So that's another learning I have definitely got from the business.
Yeah, true. What is an advice that you would like to give to international students who are planning or thinking of starting a business, or who just started off their own business?
Yeah, for international students, my main advice would be is, first of all, take off the idea that international students cannot do business. You can do business. First advice is that. Second advice is, I think there's a lot of gaps in the market which they can identify the problems and solve it. Especially there are so many things we can compare it to back our home and say, oh, we used to have that as a solution, and which is not a solution here. You can still replicate those ideas and start a business here. Or if you don't want to be someone who's copying, try to be innovative and identify a problem and find out a solution for it. And I think one of the recent things one of the international students who I know is doing and found a problem here is, we know how the seagulls are very irritating with food. And so back home, we used to have in the farms a guy who is standing.
Scarecrow.
So they made something like this with lasers here.
Okay.
So whenever the food is there or something, they are the active drones with lasers which go near that seed.
And the seagulls get scared?
They get scared and go away.
What?
Yeah, so that was one of the interesting innovations.
That is really interesting.
Yeah, so I was so intrigued and so happy seeing that solution coming up. And the inspiration for that is back home in paddy fields, we have this.
Yeah, those scarecrows, Oh, that I always say this, like there's so much in the world that you can just... Don't copy it per se, but make it your own. Like, get inspiration. Sometimes you don't need to innovate.
Yes, we don't need to be innovating.
Like, you don't need to go out of the way and find some new problem. There are already too many problems
that can be easily solved and monetized and make a business out of it.
100%.
Yes, and I think restaurants has been one of those solutions for home food for us here, and now I think there are too many restaurants everywhere. Yes, and we are very happy we are in a space of cafe. We are not in a space of restaurant, and I don't think I have plans to make this as a restaurant anytime in near future.
But I think even though y'all are a cafe 100% and it's amazing, but y'all have increased in like the number of food and items. Like I remember initially to now.
We have to be top of the customers' requirements. I never thought I will even launch a large chai. I was thinking, who will drink a large chai of a 12-ounce cup of a chai?
People drink it?
People drink it. And I introduced the cup because only people were just behind me that please introduce a large size. This is not enough for us. And now, then the food, we used to just do nibbles like biscuits and things, but they also said savory, which they wanted. So we started with some hot
It's a
bites.
good snack to go with the chai.
Samosa and chai, pakora and chai, curry puffs and vada pav and chai. Now I think we are very famous for our vada pavs.
When you said someone with chai, I'm so sure I'll try to remove it. But sutta and chai.
Oh yeah, that is so many customers gave me this idea that why don't you start selling smokes? I say smoke shop needs to be different and food needs to be different. Melbourne do not allow.
They don't allow it?
No, so the council do not allow you to combine tobacco and food.
They have that small radi outside the chaiwala, so you can have like people buy that and then sutta they buy from there.
And also, I think an interesting fact is you can't buy loose cigarettes here. You just need to buy packs here.
Illegally, some people sell it, but you shouldn't do it. No, I'm not. I don't know about all of this. I don't do anything. Just saying, guys. But whatever, I'll remove that part. Last thing is, how do your parents feel now? From when you started initially, I'm so sure they didn't think and they were like, what are you doing? Finish your education today.
They were definitely disappointed with the path or way I was going forward, but they weren't disappointed the fact that I wanted to do a business.
Okay.
But surprisingly, my everyone is into full-time jobs. Okay. My dad is into 9
No one's in business?
No one's in business. No one's in business in my family. My grandparents used to have a business. They used to, this is another funny story. My grandfather used to sell tea back home in India. And that's how they were
maybe tea is in your blood.
Yeah, they were a very small family, migrated from Kerala to Andhra, and then used to sell tea, and that's how they grew up. My dad and his brother and sisters. So my aunt keeps telling me that your grandfather used to sell chai in India, you took it to Australia, and now you're selling chai there. So
continuing the legacy.
But there was a generation gap of people not doing business in my family. So we didn't have that much of business acumen. But they were very happy. They feel so proud of me right now. My dad is also joining my company now. So his retirement plan is joining my company, coming and helping me with expansion of being a national brand in Australia.
That is so nice. Becoming a family business.
It will become a family business, and he has probably 25 to 30 years of experience in working in oil fields right now. So it will definitely help us to grow faster. We're onboarding a new director soon for the business too.
Okay.
So they will be playing.
You're on fire. That's what I'll say. You guys are on fire, just like running on fire.
We are now in a rapid phase of growth, and hopefully we be a national brand in next 2 years' time. And then I know I'm not going with this brand to India. There are so many better chaiwalas than me than back home.
India is you walk every lane, you just get out and you'll find another tapri or a chai person. Yes. This would be fancy chai, but people want the cutting
chai as well. So that's why our most famous chai is cutting chai in the shop. And then comes the masala chai. So these two always compete with each other.
Cutting is a feeling, it's just a feeling. Like when you ask for it, also it's like give me a cutting. It's like a feeling.
So that's initially our team wanted to name is Kadak Chai. But then we said, let's put it cutting chai because commonly in India, it's called as cutting chai.
I thought it was a very Mumbai thing.
No, it was, so we did little research. It's commonly called cutting even back south, down south as well. And in Mumbai, it's called cutting popularly. And north as well, they do say masala cha and all of that, which they want.
But cutting is not a thing, right? In the north? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So then we were like, let's name it cutting chai. We will give the new terminology and people will get used to it here. So
I love the feeling of a cutting. Is there any other advice or any insights that you would like to share with international students who want to start a business?
Being fearful is good. It definitely tells you on what to do and what not to do. But at the same time, do not get that fear or that feeling of not being able to do to overboard you so that you cannot do the business or anything. And definitely there is no right time to start. Just start it. You will swim the way out of it for sure. Once you're in it, I think it is a thing that you will definitely come out of it.
Yeah.
And expect the worst and always be prepared and be persistent at your worst times.
Yeah.
Because most of the people, they give up when it is the worst time. But I think being persistent at that time will definitely cross the line and you will see the bright side as well.
Yep.
Yeah. And I have personally got the advice of when you were at the worst, just shut it off. But I think we did not take it. We kept going.
Yep.
We had a bad time as well after 1.5 years of the business. We did see huge losses incurring and then shops getting closed. But we were just persistent. And even with the minimum, we'll just keep doing. At that time, we didn't even have this branded cups. We just gave plain cups and for people to have chai. And now we are growing as a chain. We are opening two more stores in next 3 months' time.
Oh wow! In Melbourne or different cities? Okay.
And next year by July you will see us in Sydney.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
So we got some exciting plans for next financial year. So we'll be doing interstate branches.
That's really nice.
Yes.
But to add on to your point, what you said for international students, also you said do prepare for the worst. Yes, do prepare for the worst, and also it's okay to fail.
It's okay to fail.
It's okay to fail. Like you can get a job because you get skills which you would have never gotten a job. Like even though I've just been like full time on Humans of Australia for like I'd say 3-4 months, but the skills that I've learned and the knowledge, not even skills and knowledge that I've got of the market, of the people, the connections you make is immense.
Immense than just a job for sure.
Yeah.
I think most of us worry about what do other people think if we fail.
Yeah.
That's the only reason will stop us to do things. I think especially majority of my people who I've known, they think of what do other people think. I don't think you really need to bother about what other people think if you fail. If you fail, you just fail. You learn a lot of it. Keep moving. And people who do criticize if you fail, then they're not your real friends. Just don't be with them.
Yeah.
And people who are your real friends will help you when you're in your failure times, will definitely stick with you even though you failed.
True.
Yeah, they wouldn't be seeing you any different because you just failed in a business. So stop worrying. I would say stop worrying about people thinking that what would people think about you if you fail? Just fail. That's fine. I think failure is always a story for learning. It is not definitely a story for success or end of a chapter of a success, but then failure is a story for you to keep going into success. Yeah.
True. And don't be embarrassed to go back to a job. It is completely okay.
Yeah, it is definitely fine.
Just like letting whoever's watching, letting them know that it's okay to go back to a job. You never know what happens in life. Maybe sometime in the future something comes up.
At least you have no regret that you did not try. Yeah. So if you tried, you failed, you go back to your job, that's fine. And you will still have colleagues who are still regretted that they haven't started something like you.
Exactly.
So always be proud of yourself, of at least having the courage and the leap of faith of doing things which you like to do.
Yeah, true. This is one question that's in my mind actually, is that, I know my questions are over, but I was able to start a business personally because I'm on a permanent resident. Like not start, but go on my business because I have a permanent residency. Is it difficult when you're a student or a temporary residency, you're doing a business, it creates a lot of like visa restrictions? Do you have any idea, any comments about that?
So it depends upon what business they want to get in. But then generally student visa or temporary residence subclass 485 should not have any restrictions to open.
It's not restrictions, but what happens is when I was in my temporary residency, I was scared. I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to be there in the next 2 years.
2 years time.
Yeah. So it's like if I start a business and if it works out, but there are minimum requirements that needs to make this much money, but it doesn't make that much money.
Yeah.
I have to leave the country, my all efforts and everything go down the way.
So that's always a risk for opening a business when you're on your temporary residence or student visa. But at the same time, you will be eligible enough to self-sponsor yourself or self-sponsorship for your business, from your business. And you'll
a friend of mine has done that.
Yes, you will be in a stage where you have enough connections of you to have a full-time job at the same time run a business too. And I think you will swim your way out to be a permanent resident if you start a business and have right connections. Yeah. So that's another encouragement. I would say if you want to start a business, you'll get the right connections and then you'll definitely be here in this country. Nobody's going to throw you out. But then the risk of being in subclass 485 is there is a chance that you might lose it all one day. But that will still make you money at that time. If you're a successful business, you can still sell the business, get settled very profitably on it, and then move on to next chapter of the life.
Yeah, and you never know, you can take these lessons ahead. But that's it from my end. Before we go to the rapid fire round, do you have anything else to add?
I would say, please come to our stores, enjoy the chai, have some
and
time
have the
with
samosas. And I'm from Mumbai, and I'm telling you that vada pav is actually amazing.
We got the endorsement from Sara too. So vada pav is Dropout Chaiwala. Chai, Dropout Chaiwala. Please do come visit us. Bring your friends and family. You will definitely enjoy the space. You got any complaints? Just text to me. Do not go on to Google. So,
Very smart business owner is what I'd say. Good one. Anyway, let's get to the rapid fire round. So for the rapid fire round, we have an Anka Cookie Co. and a Dropout Chaiwala hamper. In this, you have some goodies. I'm going to take your Dropout Chaiwala, whatever things are there, because you're the owner. So go get it from your store.
Thank you.
But anyway.
Thanks for the opportunity of us joining you as food and beverage partners.
I'm glad to have you on board.
Yeah, we love what you do, and we definitely want to support as much as we can. And the guests coming in here will also get to know about our business. So it's definitely good opportunity for us.
And I'm so sure it's great for them to have chai and food and have a good time. Thank you so much for making sure that our guests have a good time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, I want some, just by the way, I know you're not very controversial and not very dramatic, but I hope for something dramatic and controversial from you.
Let's see. Yeah.
I didn't put any controversial questions. I was like, what will Sanjith answer? But let me see how you go. I might add it on the go.
Yes.
Okay, let's start. If for 24 hours you could make one thing for $1, what would it be?
One thing for $1 for 24 hours, I would do chai.
Fine. Just keep on endorsing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. The most underrated city of Australia.
Underrated city of Australia, I think Hamilton Islands.
Yeah, it is. I've heard it's very beautiful.
It is a very beautiful island, and the Whitehaven beach there is just amazing. I can't wait to go back there again. So Hamilton is a lovely space, and it's very underrated. I think that was almost the last stop for me for touring all the places. So it was that underrated. But then I realized that is top of my list after I visited.
I've heard a lot about it. I've seen pictures. It looks amazing. Yeah. It's the Hamilton Island is the one where you can do the helicopter ride.
Helicopter ride.
Yeah.
You go on to and see the Heart Reef.
Yes.
Do the scuba and stuff.
It is beautiful. Yep. Biggest mistake you made when it comes to money? Can be personal, professional, anything.
Biggest mistake I have done with money, business-wise, I've spent heaps on marketing, which was zero returns. I would have a 100K bank balance with me right now if I didn't do that stupid sponsorships.
Yeah.
Personal-wise, I spend a lot on
biryani.
Biryani, yes, that's for sure. Yeah, as you know, so anywhere I go, even if I'm full, if I see a biryani, I just keep spending money to buy the biryani. And water bottles.
Water bottles?
Yes. I love to buy water bottles. I don't know where it comes from, but then every time, even my shop has my own water bottles. I just go to 7-Eleven or next door confectionery near me and just buy a water from there. So I spend money like that. That's a very
Why water bottles?
I don't know. I just like to collect the water bottles by spending. I like cold water, and especially if the bottle is newly shaped, I just buy the bottle to see the shape of the bottle or anything.
That is interesting. Okay. What is your dopamine menu?
Dopamine menu? Biryani. I just told you.
I knew it.
I
was like, shit, I know the answer to this. But okay. What's a hidden talent you have?
Hidden talent, singing.
Is it?
Yes, I love singing. I just keep my mom and my partner bugging by singing all the time.
Are you a good singer?
I think so, because I learned music until I was hitting puberty, and then I was like, I can't sing high tones right now, and I stopped singing. But then I love singing whenever there are gatherings with family or we just keep driving. I don't stop my mouth. I just keep singing along the song.
Okay,
nice. I don't want them to hear and they feel bad. So yeah.
Okay, I need to ask your partner if you're actually a good singer. She'll be the one. Yes. 3 small brands in Australia that should be viral.
Small brands that needs to be viral.
3. You can't name your own.
Yeah, of course.
Just saying.
3 brands, like in terms of food or
any doesn't
anything?
matter. Can be shoes, can be food, can be retail, anything. Could be tech, could be anything.
So I think one is the industry beans.
That they're not small.
They're not small, but then I don't think they're viral. They are definitely huge. They have a lot of...
Tell me smaller brands, not industry bean. They're huge. Small brands that are not well known and they should be viral.
They should be viral. Small brands.
Take a minute to think. No pressure.
Yeah. I think one's definitely is we generally go to a spot in Caroline Springs where we live close by. They have the scented candles. A lady, Michelle, she does scented candles based on you want to mix the smells how you want. So she got different flavors and you just pick the flavors and say, I need this fragrance. So she makes the scented candles.
What's her name?
Michelle Candles. Her name is itself Michelle Candles.
Okay.
So she's quite, I think she needs to get viral. So it gives that good, pleasant feeling.
Is she there on Instagram?
I'm not sure. I mean, she must be on Instagram, I think.
Okay. So. If she's there, I'll put a link in the bio.
Yes. And then other things, small.
Other 2 brands.
2 brands. I'm not a shopping guy, so I have...
Can be food as well. It could be anything, literally. Tech.
The food-wise, I think Swagat Grand, it's a South Indian restaurant, which is in Mune Ponds. They got 2 branches, 3 branches, I think so. But then personally, I love their food. Whenever I feel like I want to relax, I just don't want to eat some food and do nothing, I go to Swagat Grand. I have their Kaju chicken pakoda and biryani.
Kaju chicken pakoda, that's a new thing I've heard.
So it is a very nice chicken deep fried snack with cashew nuts and then some biryani next.
Biryani is always like, I think it goes without saying.
So that's a small shops which definitely needs to go viral. I think they're good for that.
Yep.
And then the other thing, I think the op shops. So I like to go to op shops a lot and just see what are the things people just don't want to give away. I don't buy anything there, but I love to go and see what's new in op shops.
Yeah.
So there are so many around near the Fitzroy and Brunswick area, the op shops. So.
And sometimes you get the most amazing things and they look unused and they are unused.
Yes. And so that's another criteria. I think you should go viral for people. And I think they should normalize buying things from op shop.
Yep, for sure.
It is. I think right now people do not still feel very comfortable saying I got this from an op shop or something like that. But I think that's how we can make this sustainable.
Yep, true.
By rebuying things. Reusing things.
Yep, for sure. So. Okay, amazing. There wasn't controversial enough, and I can't think my controversial questions, I don't think that suit you. But anyway, thank you so much, Sanjith. I will give you the hamper because you came here and it was...
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming here and becoming a part of Australia Unfiltered. The conversation was truly candid and it's truly unfiltered.
Thank you so much for this space and this opportunity again. And we love what you're doing. Keep doing the same thing.
Yep.
And I'm sure you'll bring a lot more guests, which we can learn a lot from, and I look forward for hearing to all those podcasts.
Thank you.